Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we talk about the latest news, information and analysis of what's really going on in Russia and the BRICS. Now, my name is Rhod Mackenzie, and today I want to talk about how Russian oil exports have returned with dynamic growth. Thus, deliveries from the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk have almost doubled in the first half of July. Now, the jump in shipments was slightly offset by a decrease in deliveries to other key destinations, but it's likely that the total export volumes will stabilise in the coming weeks, approaching the $5 million per barrel per day mark. Now, it's noteworthy that even the introduction of a flexible ceiling by the EU with a discount of $15 per barrel is unlikely to have a significant impact on these export figures, according to industry analysts. Now, the ongoing expansion of export flows to Asia and the Middle East continues to mitigate the effects of EU sanctions and their not buying. Now, in early July 2025, the average daily oil shipments from Novorossiysk increased. According to the Centre for Price Indices, the CPI, the figure doubled to almost 101,000 tonnes. Now, for comparison, the average daily oil shipments in June amounted to 68,000 tonnes per day, according to Tamara Safanova, who's a professor at the Institute of Economics, Mathematics and Information Technology at the Presidential Academy. Now, according to her, there are no significant changes in shipment volumes that are anticipated in July. She said the terminals are operating according to the schedules agreed with the shippers. Now, resources from two producers were shipped from the port of Novorossiysk to the Shekharis bulk terminal. Some oil was delivered from Kazakhstan to Italy and Croatia. Now, before I continue, I would like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website, scobricsinsight.com, and contribute to their further development. Now, you can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you now. Do keep the comments coming. Love to receive them, love to respond to them. Now, Russian oil is only now delivered to friendly countries such as India, Turkey and China. Now, according to forecasts by the CCI analysis, Novorossiysk supplies are set to increase further in the coming months. Now, the primary driver of this growth is the high demand from Turkey and India, plus a partial redistribution of cargo flows from the Baltic to the southern direction due to changes in logistics and price conditions. Singapore is another Asian oil hub that's listed as one of the new buyers, and this is a common practice when you're working with intermediate traders. That's traders who buy oil from other traders who've bought it from the beginning, and that will now move on to someone else. Now, for the time being, we can only discuss the modern positive trend according to Dmitry Alexandrov, who's head of analytical research at AVI Capital. He said an analysis of shipments over a 2-week period in general provides some insight without considering factors such as repair and maintenance schedules for terminals, the refineries and of course the vessels. Now, this is a brief interval suitable for evaluating flows based on the geographical locations of the delivery, shipment, etc. Now, it's important to note the changes in the sales format. I mean, these adjustments facilitate risk allocation depending on the delivery terms, such as FOB, which is free on board, CIF, which is cost, insurance and freight, and EXW, which are ex-works, or other applicable calculation methods. Now, these can also change the number of participants in the trading progress, according to Rhod Mackenzie, who's an analyst at broker Credit Services World of Investments, and he notes that the seasonal factor could have contributed to the increase in Russian exports. He said, in midsummers, a number of refineries undergo scheduled seasonal repairs of their refining units for diesel and petrol. So the premium channel is filled. First the main oil pipeline, which is the ESPO, Eastern Siberia Pacific Ocean, where the premium to the European grade is low and supplies of Russian euros with a higher premium operates on a residual basis. So there is a possibility that supplies from Novorossiysk could be increased by any of the friendly countries. As a rule, Safanova notes that Urals oil is sold under FOB, free on board, purchase and delivery agreement, which actually reduces the risks for Russian oil exporters. Now, it's possible this played a positive role in the deliveries from Novorossiysk, and it should be noted that the risks of further transportation and responsibility for the cargo insurance are transferred to the buyer immediately after the oil is loaded onto the tanker in a Russian port. So despite the EU's efforts to adjust the embargo on Russian oil, its impact on supply volumes is expected to be negligible as usual. Now, Brussels' introduction of a flexible price ceiling accompanied by a $15 per barrel discount is likely to result in a slight increase in logistics costs. That's going to cause greater pressure to expand the discount, but that'll only appear if the US and the G7 join in this measure, which is unlikely. I mean, that's going to have more of an impact on ship owners than on the end buyers. Now, for the oil companies without their own tanker fleet, it's more convenient to implement deliveries by conducting tender processes for loading in ports. In these cases, the seller companies are guided by more attractive financial conditions, and the buyer country is not that particularly important to them, according to the analyst. Now, despite the challenges, it's vital to maintain Russia's focus on export. Its exports have shown adaptability in the face of these ongoing challenges that the EU and the G7 have been throwing at them since the last 3 years, since February 2022. Now, Novorossiysk has increased its turnover, compensating for the decline in shipments via the Baltic ports. Now, let's recall that China, Turkey and India are the key buyers in this sector, and in the near future, Singapore is likely to be added to the list through a scheme working with oil traders. Now, the EU sanctions price ceiling is more symbolic than a real threat to volumes. But however, the game is played on a larger scale, with each additional tanker sent bypassing traditional routes represents a new challenge for logistics and pricing policy. Now, despite all of the difficulties, the Russian oil sector has demonstrated surprising resilience. I mean, the state support, coordinated actions by the large companies and flexible pricing policies have maintained export volumes at a very high level. Now, despite the uncertainty ahead with the geopolitical situation, which is currently still tense, and the Western companies still seeking to find new ways to attempt to put pressure on Russia and failing miserably, the exports will depend on the current economy of Asia, and if it continues to grow and it's able to absorb the increase in supplies. So Russia's wisdom in the face of the tightening control from the West and moving east seems to have worked. For now, the balance is maintained, but the reserve for manoeuvre is gradually shrinking, and the struggle for markets and routes will continue. Now, the key factor in the supply of Russian oil remains its flexibility in logistics. I mean, against this background, Novorossiysk gets a chance to strengthen its position as one of the main export hubs for the southern direction. So that's how it's happening, and the EU, as usual, shooting itself in both feet, having done it in both legs. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share with others who might enjoy the videos. And if you want to help me out by making a donation, click on the thanks button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.